You don't need to scream. You don't need to text them paragraphs. You don't even need to say a single word. Just disappear, gracefully, powerfully, and watch what happens next. If you've ever loved someone deeply, and they left you, walked away like you didn't matter, then this video is for you. If you gave them your heart, your time, your loyalty, and in the end, they turned cold, distant, or worse, replaced you like you were nothing, I know that pain. It shakes your confidence. It makes you question your worth, not just in their eyes, but in your own. But here's the truth. The more you chase them, the less they value you. The more you try to prove yourself, the more invisible you become to them. Their regret doesn't come from your messages. It doesn't come from begging, explaining, or trying to remind them how good you were. Their regret begins the moment you vanish, quietly, calmly, and begin becoming the most powerful version of yourself. So in this video, I'm not going to show you how to beg someone to come back. I'm going to show you how to make them regret losing you without saying a single word. We're going to break down why they never feared losing you in the first place, the psychology behind regret, when and why it hits, and what exactly you must do to make them watch you in silence, feel your absence, and whisper to themselves, "How did I ever let that person go?" You've already given too much. Now, it's time to take your power back. And if they come back, it won't be because you begged, it will be because you became unforgettable. Part 2. Why they never feared losing you. Here's the truth most people don't want to admit. They didn't fear losing you because deep down they believe you'd never leave. You were always there, always available, always trying, always forgiving. No matter how many times they pulled away, you reached out. No matter how cold they became, you stayed warm. No matter how much they neglected you, you kept showing up. And while you thought your loyalty would prove your worth, what it actually did was prove your predictability. And the human mind devalues what is predictable. Let me explain. Human psychology. We crave certainty, but we respect mystery. We long for love, but we chase challenge. And when someone gives us their heart too easily, too constantly, we start to believe we don't have to earn it. We assume it'll always be there. And so they took you for granted. Not because you weren't valuable, but because you didn't know how to stand in your value. You gave them too much access, too quickly, too freely, without boundaries, without standards, without making them meet you halfway. And here's the paradox. You were trying to love them completely, but in doing so, you left nothing for them to work for. There's a reason why silence is powerful. There's a reason why space creates tension. And there's a reason why people don't appreciate the sun until it stops shining. So what happens next? When you finally stop chasing, when you finally stop trying to explain your worth, when you walk away, not with anger but with quiet strength, the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, you're not the predictable one. You're not the safety net. You're not the emotional supply they assumed would never run dry. You become a mystery. You become something they no longer have access to. And in that absence, a strange, powerful force begins to grow. Regret. But here's the key. You don't create that regret by trying to be seen. You don't create it by proving anything. You create it by vanishing from their world and returning to your own. That's when they begin to feel the impact of your absence. That's when the silence becomes deafening. And that's when they start to ask themselves, did I lose something I'll never find again? Part 3. What they feel when you start letting go. At first, they won't notice. They'll think your silence is just a reaction, that you're playing games, that you'll come back, like you always did. They've seen this movie before. You pull away for a few days, then you return with a message, a memory, a soft "I miss you." But this time, something's different. Because this time, you're not reacting. You're not trying to get their attention. You're not punishing them. You're simply done. Not bitter, not angry, just done. And that's when it begins to hit. Stage 1, confusion. At first they wonder, why is it so quiet? Where are the calls, the texts, the updates on their life? It feels strange, off, because whether they admit it or not, they got used to your presence, even after the breakup. used to your energy, your concern, your need to reconnect. Now, the void is real, and it grows louder every day. Stage 2, reflection. Without you constantly reaching out, they start hearing their own thoughts. They replay the last conversation. They start remembering what you said, what you felt, what you gave. They recall moments when you were there for them, when no one else was. They remember how safe it felt to be with you, how you accepted their flaws, how you saw their pain without judging. And suddenly, the things they once ignored start to shine. Your consistency, your kindness, your loyalty. They didn't see it before because it was always there, but now it's gone. Stage 3, realization. This is where the shift happens. They realize you've stopped orbiting around them. You're no longer emotionally available. You've reclaimed your time, your energy, your heart. You're living not to prove your worth, but because you've remembered it. They begin to feel something deep, uncomfortable, and undeniable. Regret. And not just the regret of losing you, but the regret of never valuing you when it mattered most. Stage 4, the silent spiral. Now they're watching. Maybe not openly. Maybe through fake accounts or mutual friends or silent scrolling. They check your updates. They look at your stories. They read between the lines. They wonder, have they moved on? Are they happier now? Was I really that replaceable? Did I lose someone irreplaceable? And the silence, the one they once used to control you, now turns against them because you're no longer chasing. You've become the one who got away, and that stays with them. But remember this, your goal isn't to make them suffer. Your goal is to heal, to grow, to become whole again. Their regret is just a side effect. Part 4, what to do so they truly feel your absence. You don't need revenge. You don't need to pretend you're happy on social media. And you definitely don't need to jump into another relationship just to prove you're fine. The absence they truly feel doesn't come from you disappearing from their world, but from you finally returning to your own. You stop trying to be seen. You stop trying to be chosen. You stop going back to heal someone who chose to hurt you. So, what should you do? 1. Withdraw your energy calmly, consciously, without resentment. This is not the silent treatment to punish. This is silence to protect. You don't need to announce I'm leaving. You simply leave. Checking their stories. Don't reply to casual messages. Engineer accidental run-ins. Drop vague quotes hoping they'll notice. You pull your energy back with grace, but with certainty. Because you're not running away, you're returning to yourself. 2. Turn your silence into a message without words. Your silence isn't absence. It's a declaration. I was here, fully and sincerely. But when you failed to value me, I no longer owe you an explanation. When you go quiet, they start imagining. Their mind will fill in the blanks. Where are you? Are you with someone new? Do you still think about me? Are you happier now? And that imagination will haunt them more than any answer ever could. 3. Rebuild your self-worth, quietly, powerfully. You don't need to show the world that you're healing. You just need to actually heal, piece by piece. Move your body, feed your mind, connect with kind people. In your passions, your family, your inner peace. When they see you shining, not loudly, not performatively, that's when their regret hits hardest, because they realize you're living a life they no longer have access to. 4. Let them walk through the emptiness, without interference. Regret only shows up when space is real. If you keep filling that space with presence, reminders, or lingering hope, they'll never feel what they've truly lost. Let them stare directly into the void you once filled, by no longer standing in it. When you're no longer the one who waits, only then will they understand what gone really means. 5. Live. Not to be noticed, but to be aligned with who you are. Don't make making them regret your goal. Let it be the natural result of your healing, growth, and quiet self-respect. You don't need to glow up just to make them miss you. You need to become your best self for you, for the life that's still ahead, for the love that hasn't arrived yet, but will. And then, one day, when they realize you've truly moved on, Not with bitterness, not with a show, but with peace in your eyes and freedom in your soul. That's when they'll regret it the most. Part 5. Who you become after this and why you've already won. After all the pain, after the silence, the lonely days, the sleepless nights, you're still here, not broken, not begging, but slowly, quietly, being reborn from the ashes of what was lost. Maybe you once loved them with everything you had. Maybe you truly believed they were the one. Maybe you thought losing them would be the end of you. But it wasn't. You're still breathing. You're still standing. You're still walking, even if slowly, toward the light. And then one day, you realize, love is not about holding on at any cost. It's about having the courage to let go of what no longer respects your soul, even if your heart still wants to stay. You begin to love yourself, not because you're perfect, but because you are worthy of love, simply by existing. You stop trying to prove your worth, because deep down you know it was never lost. And the irony is, it's when you finally let go, when you stop chasing, when you choose healing over chasing, you become the unforgettable one. They may never say it, but they'll always remember you, because you were once everything they didn't have the capacity to cherish. And you don't need them to come back to know your value. You don't need a perfect ending to feel complete, because you've already learned the greatest truth. Real love never asks you to lose yourself. And if someone couldn't see your worth, you won't wait around hoping they eventually will. You don't live to be chosen. You live to choose yourself. And whether they come back or not, you've already won. You won because you survived what almost destroyed you. You won because your heart didn't turn bitter. You won because you walked away, not for revenge, but for rebirth. And if you need one final truth to carry with you, let it be this. They didn't lose you because you weren't good enough. They lost you because something better, something truer, is still on its way to you. They lost you. You found yourself. So ask yourself, who really lost? Thank you for listening. If you're in the process of letting go and healing, know that you're not alone. And I promise you, there is light at the end of this tunnel. You are worthy of love, but more importantly, you are worthy of you. Part 6. The psychology of regret. When it hits and why. Regret doesn't come right away. It doesn't hit while they're leaving. It doesn't show up while they're acting cold, distant, or indifferent. Regret only arrives when there's space to notice and silence to feel. Regret isn't caused by your absence. It's caused by the value they lost and didn't realize at the time. At first, after the breakup, they might feel relief. They might tell themselves it was the right choice or they were no longer in love. Some even jump into distractions. A rebound, parties, new flings, like you never existed. But over time, familiarity creeps back in. The routines they had with you no longer exist. The connection they had no longer feels deep with anyone else. The emotional safety, nowhere to be found. And then what happens? They begin to remember. The patience you had, the warmth you offered, way you showed up without needing to be asked. At first, they don't call it regret. They think it's just nostalgia, but the feeling comes back, again and again. Every time they meet someone new and can't feel what they once felt with you. They begin to wonder, did I make a mistake by letting them go? Why do I feel this emptiness? Will I ever find someone who understands me like they did? Psychology tells us, regret comes late, but when it does, it runs deep. Especially when someone realizes they've lost access to something they now understand was rare. The more you grow, heal, and shine, the greater the contrast between who you've become and what they gave up. They don't just regret losing you. They regret not being mature enough to value you when they had the chance. Part 7. How to disappear the right way. Let silence speak for you. Silence is not a weapon. It's a language of self-worth. You don't go quiet to hurt them. You go quiet to stop hurting yourself. How do you disappear the right way? 1, don't announce it. Don't fake it. Don't perform it. You don't need to post cryptic quotes. You don't need to fake happiness on Instagram. You don't need to say, watch me glow up. You actually glow up, and that's enough. 2, don't cut them off with bitterness. Cut them off with clarity. You don't block them in rage. You don't ghost them in silence just to get a reaction. You simply close the door they didn't know how to walk through when it was open. 3, don't linger like a ghost in their life. You don't keep checking their stories. You don't comment in ways they might notice. You don't keep showing up, hoping they'll regret. You step back fully, with dignity. 4, let silence say what words never could. In your silence, they will hear everything. Rutherford void. Third, things you used to say. Thread sound of you walking away, not out of hate, but out of self-respect. The right kind of disappearance leaves no noise but echoes forever. That person was once there, deeply, patiently, wholeheartedly, and I lost them, to my own silence. And finally, you don't need to say a word. You don't need their apology. You don't need a perfect ending, because your silence is the ending, and your life moving forward is the beginning.